While A Bug's Life was in production, Disney commissioned Pixar to make a direct-to-video sequel to Toy Story, but they were so impressed by what they saw, they decided to give it a theatrical release. However, John Lasseter gave it a look and was unimpressed, so against Disney's wishes, he scrapped the whole thing and, completely unprecedented for an animated film, started the whole feature again from scratch with just a year left in its release. The result was a rare sequel that was just as good as the first chapter and proved even more successful, as it tapped even more emotional nerves while still proving incredibly funny. The abandonment of the Jessie Cowgirl doll still proves to be one of the saddest scenes in any animated film, and Woody, wondering what will happen to him once Annie gets older, resonated even more with all the folks in the audience than the younger set they think it's aimed towards. Once again, Lasseter and Pixar completely and utterly surpassed people's expectations.
One, he would. One, he would. Two, guys! Three!
Tom Hanks, Tim Allen, Toy Story 2.
Ride like the wind, Bullseye!
Toy Story 2 was yet another fantastic achievement from the folks over at Pixar, but he felt he needed a break, so Lasseter stepped down as director for a while, but that doesn't mean he slacked off. He served as executive producer on all subsequent Pixar productions and allowed other writers and animators to take the director's seat, with Pete Docter taking on Monsters, Inc., Andrew Stanton helming Finding Nemo, and even outsider Brad Bird was invited to finally bring his 10-year personal project The Incredibles to fruition. And once again, Pixar hit it out of the park again and again and again. Around this time, Lasseter also started supervising the English dubs for the films of his favorite director, the Japanese master of animation, Hayao Miyazaki. Starting with Spirited Away, Disney hired Lasseter to help bring the Studio Ghibli titles to a wide audience, and he did a bang-up job creating versions that were very closely translated and were respectful of the original version to the great approval of Miyazaki himself. Lasseter returned to the director's chair with a very personal project, Cars, based upon his own love for automobiles and old family road trips. While Cars seemed like they would be difficult to make endearing and funny characters, Lasseter actually did a good job of doing just that by attaching a plot that was an homage to classic roads that have been lost in time and showing the importance of preserving old heritage towns for future generations, most notably the film's main setting, Route 66. The racing car adoration even reached to the point of having racing icons like Indy's Mario Andretti and Formula One's Michael Schumacher appearing as their respective models. Once again, Lasseter produced another major hit not just on the big screen, but in merchandising sales, as the current generation have fallen in love with Lightning McQueen and Mater much in the same way my generation were attached to Woody and Buzz Lightyear. There's even a Cars 2 now in development that will center on Lightning and the gang going to Le Mans in 24 hours.
Walt Disney Pictures presents a Pixar Animation Studios film.
Do I spot a little pinstriping tattoo back there?
Oh, you saw that?
On June 9th.
What's so important about this race of yours?
I've been dreaming about it my whole life.
A guy who thought he had it all is about to discover everything he's been missing.
I knowed I made a good choice.
In what?
My best friend.
Around the time Cars was deep into production, Pixar was bought by Disney for $7.4 billion, and John Lasseter was made Chief Creative Officer of Walt Disney Animation. One of his first orders of business was to eliminate the direct-to-video sequels to classic Disney animated films that the studio had been spinning out for the past 15 years, as he felt they took away from the specialness of the first films. The second decision he made was to reinstate the Shorts program, which, like at Pixar, will be used to give new talent a chance to show themselves. And thirdly, and most importantly of all, he decided to bring back the hand-drawn animators that Disney had so shamefully kicked out back in 2003. The first hand-drawn animated project at Disney in 5 years was put into production, with Lasseter choosing to make it the classic fairytale musical the studio is known for. Based on The Frog Princess, Lasseter chose to set it in his favorite city, New Orleans, hired composer Randy Newman to write the music, and brought back Little Mermaid filmmakers Ron Clements and John Musker to direct the film. The result was an outstanding success that brought to mind the classic Disney films while still keeping its own identity. The traditional animators came back with a bang, and the box office grosses for The Princess and the Frog have been successful enough for Disney to greenlight even more hand-drawn animated films.
Miss Froggy,
Ma'am?
might I have a word?
Yes, ma'am.
You's a hard one, that's what I heard. Your daddy was a loving man, family through and through. You your daddy's daughter, what he had in him, you got in you. You gotta dig a little deeper.
He also produced the holiday special Prep and Landing, which was a funny and energetic story about the North Pole elves preparing for Christmas and becoming the first holiday special in years to surpass Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer in the ratings.
The Figgy Pudding
Figgy pudding.
hits the fan. But no one does stealth
Keep it together, dancer!
like an elf. Disney presents its first animated television special made exclusively for ABC.
I'm alive!
Oh, frostbite.
Prep and Landing.
How are we gonna make it through all this snow? Laughing all the way, my friend. Laughing all the way.
Coming soon to ABC.
Meanwhile, Pixar continued with its onslaught of hits with the likes of Ratatouille, WALL-E, and just last year, Up, which became only the second animated film in history to be nominated for an Oscar for Best Picture, and hopefully it won't be the last. There's no denying that John Lasseter has done a lot for the animation industry, from forming the most successful and critically acclaimed studio of the past 15 years, to bringing back classic art form. This man breathes animation, and you can see that passion in his projects, whether he's directing them or simply serving as producer. While some people degrade it and view animation as a children's medium, Lasseter and his companions over at Pixar and Disney see it as so much more. A medium that can tell any story, whether it be done by hand or by clicking a mouse. And that is part of what makes him one of the best filmmakers working today, in animation or otherwise. See you next time.